So today, I would like to announce Donald Trump's win in 2020. And look, I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm a progressive, a Bernie Sanders supporter. But the Democrats just handed Trump the victory in 2020. What am I referring to? I'm referring to a military spending bill that was passed a few days ago. It increases our military budget $22 billion. Not only does it do that, but it also gave Donald Trump Space Force and adds it as another arm of our military. And look, Space Force isn't just going to be a couple $1,000,000. No, it's going to be a most likely at least $1 trillion. And Trump gets to say, I got Space Force. Um, so, and look, it's not, I know that there's going to be people saying, well, yeah, but it was the Senate. Well, the Dems don't have a foothold in the Senate. No. One of the major people who signed on and backed this bill was Nancy Pelosi. You know, we need to impeach Trump because he's controlled by the Russians and we can't trust him. And he's a horrible, horrible president. But I'm going to give him $22 billion more for a military. And, by the way, I'm going to broaden his reach under NSA. And I'm going to give him basically his own wing of the military. Something that is a bigger legacy to him than most things. But I thought he was a Russian agent. I thought he was controlled by Putin. I thought he was just too horrible to even serve as our president. But she signs on to this bill. 377 to 48 this bill passed. There was some objectors to this bill. Most had already figured that they weren't going to get anything out of it. So they tried to come up with stipulations for the bill, namely people like Ro Khanna and Bernie Sanders, who wrote in these little caveats in the bill. One of them was no large weapon sales to Saudi Arabia, pulling support for militaries that were involved in the Yemen genocide. And the thing is, none of those got through. Not a single one. Oh, the other one, which is probably the biggest one, sorry, I was kind of spacing on it, was that this is what Ro Khanna, Bernie Sanders, AOC put in this bill, that Donald Trump would not be allowed to start an offensive war with Iran without a vote. And Nancy Pelosi, the Democrats, signed into this and agreed to this. That just takes too much power away from Trump. You know, the guy they're trying to impeach right now? Yeah. So that got taken out. There is one thing in this bill. And by the way, if you look at Politico, of course, I hate to say it, but the failing New York Times, you look at any of these media outlets, and they've said this is a progressive military bill. You know why they call it a progressive military bill? So here's what we get out of it. We get paid family leave. But not us. Federal employees do. And in an article by Politico, they called that far-reaching. Far-reaching. And it just baffles my mind because we're at a place right now where we say that is far-reaching. But putting a fucking tank on Mars is, well, it's fine. We can find the money to do that. We never, never, never see that question. And you know what question I'm about to ask? Well, how are we going to pay for it? We never see that when it comes to military spending, when it comes to backing the banks, the defense contractors. Never see that question. When it's talking about free education, healthcare, ending homelessness, fixing income inequality. That's the only question they can come up with. Well, how are we gonna pay for it? I don't see any budget room there. By the way, speaking of income inequality and homelessness and poverty, this bill passed after two really important things happened. Number one, we talked about it a couple days ago. The Afghanistan report came out from the Washington Post on Monday, which was a 2,000-page detailed report explaining how government officials have been lying to us about the war in Afghanistan. This bill that passed, this came out the following day. And you can't tell me that Nancy Pelosi doesn't know how to read. You can't tell me that the 377 people who signed on to this just were like, I don't know what you're talking about. I was uninformed. They knew. They knew we were being lied to about all that, and they were fine with it because it was their buddies getting rich. The other thing that happened is right before this bill passed, we also saw some major cuts in SNAP, which is it's a welfare system, because we didn't have the money. We have money to put a goddamn tank on the moon, but we don't have money to take care of Americans. That is where we are in America right now. And I don't care which way you look at it, it's exactly where we are. And that's where Nancy Pelosi is. That's where most of the Democrats are. So when I say Donald Trump's going to win this election, that's why. Because let's look at it objectively. And look, it hurts me to say this. But unless support really riles up, Bernie Sanders is not going to be the candidate. It sucks, and the reason why he won't be the candidate is the reason why this video on like YouTube won't reach a couple hundred views. Because no one gives a shit. No one cares about substance. So Bernie's not going to be our candidate, and it's going to be Biden versus Trump. Biden can't talk himself out of an order at McDonald's, let alone battle a very, at that point, empowered Trump. Think about it. We all know another thing, too, we have to really just accept. He's not going to be impeached. Trump's not going to be removed. So Trump's going to come out of this saying, look what I beat the Democrats. They tried to impeach me. I beat them. You know what else? I just did the NAFTA deal, and it's better than ever. I just gave the military a raise, a 3.1% raise, the biggest raise in over a decade, because that was part of that spending bill that I'm talking about. He's then going to say, everyone laughed at me, but I gave him Space Force. I am giving you guys all of this. And what's Biden going to say? You're a racist? Yeah, Biden's going to call someone a racist. Biden's going to say somebody is a sexual deviant. Yeah, it's going to fly real well. Real fucking well. And you know what's going to happen too? The Democrats are going to blame Russia. They're going to blame the progressives. They're going to blame everybody but themselves. In walks Donald Trump Jr. for president. Like, I don't know if that's going to happen, but I do know that the more and more I see bills like this pass with flying support from both sides, it makes me realize that they're on the same damn team. And the problem is this entire time, we thought, well, I'm on the Democrat team. I'm on the Republican. No, you're not. We're on the opposing team. The American people are on the opposing team. And we are losing bad. Really, really, really bad. I mean, you have people who are servants, quote unquote, of Barack Obama and Nancy Pelosi. They're supposed to serve us. Yet, motherfucker, look just how goddamn rich they are. And how they got that rich. By lying to us. Anyway, that's it for me. It's incredibly depressing. And look, if you're not outraged about this, then you don't know enough about politics. But The whole impeachment thing doesn't matter. None of this matters. This bill, this matters more than anything. And it's funny because Trump could come out and say to Elizabeth Warren, who signed on the last bill, "Oh, if you're so for the downtrodden, why did you sign this military bill? Why did you allow for cuts in food stamps?" Hmm? And she would have no answer. Nancy Pelosi would have no answer. If you're so afraid of Trump, then why are you giving him more power? Why are you giving his NSA more power? Why are you allowing him to commit an offensive war with Iran? I thought we couldn't trust him. I thought he was unfit. Yeah. What are they going to say? I didn't read it right. I just signed something. I don't know. Yeah, they got no answer. Why Trump's going to win in 2020. Anyway, thanks a lot, guys. Have a good evening.